Get ready, because today we're going deep, really deep into the altar of God.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and to help us unpack this whole concept, we're turning to weiwat's A Course in Miracles. You know that blog and YouTube channel that takes A Course in Miracles, which can be pretty heavy sometimes?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And makes it, actually relatable?
Yeah, weiwat really breaks it down, uses analogies and stuff so it makes sense, Like in this case, they use the idea of an altar as a metaphor for our minds, like literally.
Okay, an altar.
Wait, what?
I gotta admit, you've got my attention. So what exactly are we talking about here? I'm picturing, Indiana Jones stumbling upon some hidden treasure chamber or something.
Yeah, kinda. Picture this. Your mind is a grand temple,
Okay.
like the Parthenon, but hopefully in better shape.
Okay, less crumbling.
Way less crumbling.
Yeah.
And right at the center, the most sacred spot, that's your altar. It's like the purest part of you, the place where truth and peace and all that good stuff just naturally exists.
So it's like our own inner sanctuary, the control center, where all the good vibes come from.
Ah,
Okay, I'm liking this so far. But I have a feeling life has a way of messing with our pristine little altar. Am I right?
you are so right. Think of it like this. You've just spent weeks, Marie Kondoing your entire life. Everything's perfect, organized, you're feeling zen.
And then boom.
Boom. Work deadlines, emails, you know how it is.
Oh, yeah. And suddenly you're drowning in takeout containers in that pile of laundry that's been staring you down for, a week.
Yeah. Like, that episode of Hoarders where they find, a vintage Chanel suit buried under a mountain of old newspapers? It's kind of like that, but instead of a Chanel suit, it's our inner peace getting buried under all the stress and distractions.
Okay, that's a pretty vivid, if slightly terrifying picture you're painting here.
But that's the point. We let fears, distractions, all that mental junk pile up on this beautiful altar, and it just, blocks the light.
So we've gone from pristine temple to, a full-blown mental hoarder situation.
Yeah.
So the big question is, how do we even start to declutter this mess? Where do we begin?
Well, Watt points out something really interesting. They say that we often try to find peace in all the wrong places. Like, we get so focused on external stuff, like trying to look perfect.
Oh, yeah, got to get that perfect Instagram body.
Exactly. Or chasing that big promotion, It's like we're so busy polishing the outside of the temple that we totally forget about the inner sanctuary.
It's like in The Great Gatsby, He throws these crazy parties trying to impress Daisy with all his wealth and stuff, but deep down, he's still empty because he's neglecting his inner world.
Exactly. It's all about misplaced focus, real peace. The kind that lasts. It doesn't come from external validation or, fleeting material things. It comes from within, from that often neglected altar of the mind.
Okay, so external fixes are out. Got it.
Mm.
But if we're not supposed to focus on all the material stuff, what should we be focusing on? What's the, Marie Kondo method for the soul?
That's where spiritual sight comes in. It's all about training ourselves to see beyond the distractions, the surface stuff, and look directly at the essence of things. It's like, imagine developing X-ray vision for the soul.
Ooh, I like that. Spiritual X-ray vision. So we can see past all the facades and get to the real deal.
Exactly. Like Neo in The Matrix when he finally sees the code behind the illusion.
Oh, yeah, but instead of all those green numbers raining down, we're seeing, the divine spark, right? That pure essence that connects us all.
Yes, you got it.
Okay, so we're decluttering our mental temple, and we're working on our spiritual X-ray vision. Sounds like a lot of work. But I'm getting the sense this all ties back to A Course in Miracles, specifically to this idea of atonement, right?
Absolutely. This is where weiwat really dives into the core teachings of the Course. They explain that this altar, the one we've been talking about, it was once totally invulnerable to fear. It represents a state of pure unity before the idea of separation even existed.
Oh, I get it. Like that blissful state of mind before you remember you have a paper due tomorrow or anything stressful at all.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like the Garden of Eden, before the whole apple incident. And atonement is what helps us get back to that state of wholeness.
So is atonement like a giant reset button for our inner temple? It clears out all the clutter and we're back to factory settings.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about removing those mental blocks that stop us from experiencing love and peace and joy, all that good stuff that's already inside us.
Okay, so it's not about adding something new. It's about removing the stuff that's blocking what's already there.
Exactly. When weiwat really emphasizes that when we put atonement at the center of our mental altar, it's like anchoring our minds in this steady light. And that makes us, less vulnerable to all the fear and doubt that comes our way.
So it's like building a lighthouse on our mental island to guide us through all the, emotional storms.
Exactly. But how do you think atonement actually works in practice?
That's a good question. Is it like a special meditation or something? Or maybe a mantra?
Well, in A Course in Miracles, atonement is described as a process of choosing love over fear, like in every moment. It's about noticing those thoughts that are based in fear, the self-doubt, the judgments, all that.
Oh yeah, we all have those.
And then consciously choosing to replace them with thoughts of love and forgiveness and understanding.
So it's not about ignoring the negative thoughts. It's more like actively shifting our perspective, like reframing a negative situation to see if there's any room for growth.
You got it. It's all about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we react to everything. Atonement is this constant practice of aligning our thoughts and words and actions with love rather than fear.
Okay, so it's an inner transformation that, radiates outward.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got atonement as this ongoing practice of choosing love over fear, which helps to clear all the clutter from our mental altar. But what happens when the altar's clear? What's the end goal?
Well, remember how we were talking about spiritual sight earlier?
Yeah, our spiritual X-ray vision.
When the altar is clear, when we're truly aligned with love and truth, that's when our spiritual sight really kicks in.
Okay.
And when that happens, miracles become possible.
Wait, hold on. Are we talking parting the Red Sea miracles?
Mhm.
Or something a little more, down to earth?
That's the cool part. A Course in Miracles says that miracles aren't actually supernatural events. They're shifts in perception, a return to right-mindedness.
So it's less about, bending the laws of physics and more about changing how we see reality. Kind of like when you realize that the monster in the closet was just a pile of laundry you forgot to put away.
Exactly. It's about realizing that our fears and anxieties, they often distort how we see things. When we clear out those mental blocks, we can see things more clearly, and that's what opens us up to experiencing miracles. Those moments of grace that remind us that everything is connected.
So the clearer the altar, the stronger our spiritual sight. And the more we experience those miracles, those shifts in perception, it's starting to make sense. But how does all of this actually work in real life? We're not all living in pristine temples, right? We've got traffic, grocery lists, laundry, all that.
True. But the cool thing about this concept is that we can create that sacred space within us no matter where we are. It's about making time for stillness, even when things are chaotic. Finding those moments of peace where we can connect with ourselves and practice atonement.
So it's like finding those little pockets of Zen, whether it's a few minutes of meditation, a walk in nature, or just taking a deep breath before you answer that email that's making you want to scream.
Exactly. It's about bringing these principles into our everyday lives, making choices that are aligned with love and forgiveness.
So we don't have to build an actual temple or start wearing togas to experience this inner transformation. It's about making conscious choices in the real world. But this whole idea of atonement and clearing out our mental clutter, it can feel a little overwhelming. Are we in this alone?
That's one of the best parts of A Course in Miracles. It reminds us that we're not alone in this. There's this idea of the Holy Spirit, kind of like a divine guide who's always there to help.
Okay, the Holy Spirit, so like a spiritual GPS for the soul. Is that the basic idea?
Yeah, you could say that. The Course teaches that the Holy Spirit is like a constant companion, always there to guide us and support us as we're on this journey of spiritual awakening.
So even when we feel lost or confused, we can tap into this inner guidance system and get some directions.
Absolutely. It's like having a wise and loving friend who always has your back and helps you see things more clearly and make good choices. It's a reminder that we're never truly alone, even when things get rough.
That's a great thought, like having Gandalf there to whisper some wisdom when you're facing down a Balrog, Okay, maybe not exactly the same, but I think our listeners get the idea. Wow, we really went deep today, exploring all the nooks and crannies of our mental temples.
It's amazing how weiwat's in Course in Miracles manages to make these really complex ideas feel so relatable.
Totally. So before we wrap things up, let's bring it all together. What are the key takeaways we want our listeners to walk away with?
Okay, so first, that picture of the mind as a temple with the altar on the center. Remember that.
Yeah, our inner sanctuary.
It's such a powerful visual because it reminds us that peace and clarity, that's our natural state.
Even when life gets messy.
Exactly. And it's not about creating something new. It's about rediscovering what's already there.
But as we talked about, things can get cluttered. Our inner sanctuary can get a little dusty.
And that's where atonement comes in. It's not about punishment or anything like that. It's about clearing out those fear-based thoughts that are dimming our inner light.
It's about choosing love over fear, forgiveness instead of judgment, all of that.
And it's not a one-time thing, it's an ongoing practice.
A conscious choice we make every day.
Right. And as we practice atonement, we start to see things differently. We shift from a fear-based mindset to a love-based one, and that's when our spiritual sight really starts to develop.
And those miracles start to happen, those moments where we see things with more clarity and realize everything is connected.
Exactly. And remember, we don't have to do this alone. We've got the Holy Spirit, our inner guide, always there to help us along the way.
Like our cosmic life coach.
Totally. Always there to support us and guide us towards our highest good. It's a reminder that we're never really alone, even when things get tough.
So listeners, if you're feeling lost or overwhelmed, remember, you can always tap into that inner guidance. It's always available.
And as you go through your week, keep that image of the altar in mind. Think about what might be cluttering your inner sanctuary. What choices can you make to clear things out and let your light shine even brighter?
That's a powerful question to take with us, a reminder that true transformation starts from within. So stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, you have the power to create miracles.
Beautifully said. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep shining bright.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the altar of God. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, stay curious, fellow deep divers.
Wait, what?